Thank you, my friends. David, thank you so much. It's been just an honor and a pleasure to work with you and our brother Rorschach and to help in a small way all these wonderful poets that gather together. I'm going to share a screen and share some work with you. I plan with this set to take you on a little trip. It's in four movements. The first movement is science. Then we're going to do some politics, then a little bit of poetry for poets, and then I'm going to close it up with some love, hopefully to bring you some lighthearted and joyful stuff. So here we go. Part one, the science movement. Okay, so let's open this one up. Here we go. These are some science poems. As you know, I really enjoy sciences, and I invited you to speak to the theme of education and learning and study. I come from heritage that was. I'm just third generation in this country, and there's not a lot of college educated folks in my family, only a few. And I learned early on how important this was, and I hope you have the chance to enrich your mind, enrich your environment with your own studies. So this first one is speaking to that theme. I call this one Educate. Searching history and loving science takes us away from blind myth reliance. Collecting honest data builds a life and drags us up from the miasma of single cell pond life. Myth and legends have their place, but civilization and technology have their own very special grace. The shift to uplift, the well trod footpaths and recognition enrich our mental activity. The opposite of remission, treading the waves of history reduces crippling assumptions and misery. And when reading the annals of science, we learn of heroic actions, and through experimental reliance, the facts get stacked and thereby theories as strained by hacks. Academe is far from perfect. It's, after all, the humans that work it. Science advances are often opposed. The reading of science history really shows. But inspired, we may make progress daily, so in our high-tech encrusted lives, we might celebrate with our global friends gaily. Repeatable phenomena upon which facts adhere is the way to bring a better future here. Collect the data, decide, never let the fearful steer the ride. We may live surrounded by technology, but for progress to flourish, for human dignity, there can be no apology. This one is called Dark Molecular Cloud. What used to be a hole, for all we know, on closer observation, is a kind of anti-show. Now Bart Bach, and he could talk, describes the absorptive side. Dust makes these little flakes about 1% of the overall mass. The rest is cold gas. We'll let that pass. Begets a new interpretation. It's all called by all determination. A dark molecular cloud is so dense. In its defense, it is promised. It hugs the light. It's so proud, this light devouring darkling molecular cloud, known as Barnard 68. I'm not quite sure. It's a bit obscure why they couldn't really wait. Right out the gate, without an ounce you can relate, they state this dark molecular cloud swallows visible light. What was bright is now reachy, peachily dark as night, absorbing, obscuring all the stars, yet enduring behind them. They find them all swallowed and hollow, obscured and demurred out a drop, heedless of any particular particles of sorrow. A great concentration in the position means a collision absorbing visible light across the spectrum. If I got it right, a veritable fulcrum of night. The eerily dark surroundings have prevented any detailed soundings, making and marking this phenomena sparkling. One spectacular, cold, deep darkling, drinking up the light all right. And in this isolated spaces, this deep, dark, absorptive nebula is a cloudy, rowdy, untoward, the constellation Ophiuchus. Can I really do this? It's also called Box Globule, a tick-tock, thick shock module, the constellation straddling as if he's somehow paddling. There, beyond, barely visible, beyond the infrared, the slightest whisper is said irrisible. The clouds of very cold gas and dust that we trust are so thick they nearly opaque and sink the visible light, and if we've got it, might, if right, be a stellar nursery, conversely, perversely fertile, even so, more than myrtle. Now this one, this is a true story. When I lived in Miami and in South Florida, the land is very, very flat. If you've ever been there, you know that. But there is this huge mountain south of Miami that's made of garbage. And since Florida is still quite hot, there's quite a effervescent perfume, if you will, exuded by this giant mountain of garbage. So I will tell you one other thing: the waters just off this. This is really right up against the coast. Is Biscayne Bay, which is a national monument and a wildlife preserve. Here we go, up on Garbage Mountain. Up on Garbage Mountain, along the Biscayne Bay, although the seagulls stop for dinner, they seldom fly away. Would be a foul idea to build it up so high. It's not too wise to leave all that garbage piling higher, faster, wide. Mountainous high, strenuous glazes, heat hassle hazes, layers strumming, summing suns drumming, heating, stuffed surprise. Trucks take dumps on hasty humps, leak, laughing, pungent snares, vapors drifting, wafting, lifting, sifting in the air, waves welling, falling, smelling up the air. Don't rush right up to drink the cup without a sealed tight mask to wear. We don our yellow gloves there, our acid-tested boots, completely airtight overalls and air-conditioned suits, with special pressure steel-toed boots amid the gushing whoosh. The bugs are mighty strange there. We've quite a special strain. The chemicals they've hatched in resemble acid rain. They carry mighty virus, sure, a highly aggressive brood. So do not park your car nearby. They've acquired a taste for tires. Radials are good. The roaches that survive there have carborundum shells, and when they fly from place to place, falling, sparking trails are traced. The mud that moves, we call it, watching some crawl by. Don't get any on your shoe, it'll eat right through you quick, and should you dare to poke it, it'll probably eat your stick. One thing you'll find amazing as it reaches clown-rimmed Olympic heights. One thing true, good, that it can do, bring into a tourist's well-earned view a look at that strange and bloated large Jersey, and a garbage barb, ripe as homeless and as sad a sight as a garbage truck, out of luck and gas, with a year's young load of your own waste. Like the taste? And then this is a tribute to our, what I call our Darwinian healthcare system. Maybe the sick should just die. I've heard them complain on the bus and the train as they cough and they stress, adding their mess, flailingly postponing their well-deserved ultimate rest, denying, decrying, refrying the end, calling on friends. Maybe the sick should just die. Until all their screeching has battered my brain, the yowling and moaning and screaming and groaning, the toing and froing, without pause or restraint. Maybe the sick should just die. They parade to the hospital and clog up the halls with their slips and their falls, legs in cast, packed into stalls with more than they teeter on crutches, slowing me down with their coughing and sneezing and crapping old wheezing. By God, it's not pleasing. Maybe the sick should just die. Insurance rates and mental states, implants and valves, upgraded joints, arterial stents make me wince. They can't take a hint. Maybe the sick should just die. Surgeons galore, doctors by the score, orthopedists and what's more, pancreas, appendix, and replacement kidneys and those tricks, x-rays, MRIs, ultrasound, radiation overlay, seems they stop and pile up at every station. They're messing up the nation. Maybe the sick should just die. All the pills and the potions, extravagant notions of fellowship, stop the commotion. What a trip, let her rip. Maybe the sick should just die. Commercials round the clock, drug cures chock-a-block. Just take this stuff, my pillows fluff. Maybe the sick should just die. If you can't finally be repaired, the society must declare maybe the sick should just die. Medicaid, Medicare, never find enough coins there. Stop the ways, you're full of bad taste. Maybe the sick should just die. Okay, well, that's science. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and we'll do a couple of politics. Tempus fugit, as they say. So this first one, you know, many of us have been anti-war for a really long time. We're getting too damn good at this stuff. It's really, really too much. So this is from a story about an incident in Ukraine where a woman confronted a Russian soldier, and this is as it was told. "Why are you here?" the old lady asked. "My dear young soldier, standing with your rifle so bold here on my street, on your way to defeat? Are you here to kill your brothers? Will you be glad to kill their mothers and kill their babies too? Do you have rabies? Is that why? Are you crazy? Must we die so you can save us, or will you find your grave here with us? Why are you here? Did you come to kill us? You'll die here, little man. Go back while you can. Don't you understand, little man? You must spill us and kill us and shoot us, pollute us." "Grandmother," the soldier said, "you should go before it gets worse." "In all this killing make it worse? You came to save us by killing us, plant your bombs and spill us? Leave before it gets worse? Gets worse? I place on you my most awful curse. You'll die here and lie here hated and worse. Put these seeds in your pocket so flowers will bloom where your body will fall after all." "Please go, old mother," said the soldier, "before it gets worse." "Worse than you and your killing? Will you kill us all after all to save us? In the grave your great victory awaits. Get out of my gate. Go home before it gets worse. Go with my curse." And then this one, again, we've been at this for too damn long. A jolly little war. You know, there were people that actually thought somehow that this current regime was going to be peaceful because, this the Democrats, they're all, warlike. So this is called A Jolly Little War. It's called, subtitle is If Perhaps You Know the Score. What's the war is for? Is it bluster or a cluster chuck? What exactly is it? Just a resource grab and nothing more? That can be fab. Can we bully Greenland, or is it for real a threat? Can we see in Ottawa what we might yet ere regret? Does he want Panama just for the shipping, or is he just out there all over with his bloodlust all dripping? Can we grab the isthmus that'll be ours again? What do we say to Britain? Aren't the Falklands free again? Hey, so grab us Greenland and Canada with our crew. We can take the minerals and the forests too. Will he annex Saskatoon? Is it Skagway on the list? When we steal old Northumberland, will Toronto be also blessed? Will we have a grand old SEAL patrol with our slogans high? Our robot tanks seize the sleaze and take control? Will the Northern Reindeer be ours again? Will we make the walrus postage our special friend? What do we need from the Argentine? Is the tango charming or just obscene? Is it our pal Paraguay again, or is he uncertain about the way? Is that where the jade is made in Paraguay, or is it really emeralds and cocaine that paves the way? Is Colombia really the toast of the coast, or is cocaine what they want to bury their nose in the most? Will he annex Whitehorse, or will Quebec be reduced to a francophone roast, or just a steaming rubble strewn with a heap of radioactive toast? From Greenland to Grenadines, we'll seize the oil, the gold, the dream, with a chance to grab some headlines. Then again, will there be mountainous stacks of dead? Well, fine. Expand the empire from coast to coast. And those without the martial spirit? Now, there's always Caesar's ghost. One last piece in a political vein. This is addressed to that chap who shall go unnamed. Once again, proved in a switch. Once again, thank you. It's proved in a switch if you're rich, you can be 47 kinds of a son of a bitch. Watch through walls no cell can keep you. Walk through the open church door and ignore the people. Once again, all restraints go unused. Why, son, if you're rich, the sheriff will even shine your shoes. If I listed all the places that charges were dropped, the myriad million places where the law just stopped or basically flopped, you'd be convinced that all those laws on the books, there just weren't any. You can shine that pretty old penny. If sadly you didn't have any, well, that is if you were cash short and law snorts. Or like old Jack Benny, if you're down to your few last pennies, on you the law would drop. If you had not two coins to rub together, stop. You'll be hauled up on a million charges, or maybe accidentally some copper's gun discarges. Accidentally, of course, because it's rare, but you poor old pool boy, you'll probably just end up in jail. It's completely unnecessary to remind that any rich man in any court will find a special place to rest his feet on a fleet of eternity's attorneys to make it all read. Steal some secrets, corrupt elections, maybe he'll see justice or just his next few connections. How he stumbled past any law form, he'll just laugh and pass out some gingerly, tinselly, gold-plated chloroform, steal and rob or murder for sure, and barely 10 minutes later he's waltzing out the door. He'll be rewarded in the end as long as he can buy enough of those judicial prejudicial friends. Justice just looks away and coughs. Election interference, don't you worry that well-coiffed head. All the charges will be suddenly circumstantially dismissed instead. Election interference? What? That's just for littles. Go right ahead. Your maid told us the prosecutor's busy frying up your favorite victuals. Steady. Investigations of your bogus college scheme were dropped. They fought by a hopping prosecutor with willful knowledge. Amazing what writing cutting checks can do, whether from Manhattan, Miami, or Kalamazoo, says you. His boast he could shoot anyone on 2nd Avenue no longer seems to ring so hollow, and all that stuff you once found hard to swallow, more like Daniel in a den of spaniels, walk on water, steal the race, seems simply pathological if the occasional reporter dares to ask a question. Hey, order me up 11,780 votes. That case all washed away, but hey, it was a great big flood of money. Sways, take note, who's to say? All them secrets stacked and packed by the pool at Mar-a-Lago. Any discussion of that? Well, my friend, you keep that under your hat. There is an embargo. Will New York or Georgia find some spine, or just blinking slink away just like Gitz in the nick of time? Well, my friends, I will treat briefly on the subject of poets. And this is to you, my friends. You bring joy, you bring truth every time, and it is so refreshing. This first one is called The Traveling Monks. The traveling monks of Drepung Logse Lamasery, Om Mani Padme Om, have been traveling to share from far fair Tibet what you gain when you forget. Om Mani Padme Om. Their wisdom, like the dancing water boy with his buckets who employ with his joyous spillage all the joy and tillage. Om Mani Padme Om. His bearing burdens glory, and then beyond silence tells the story. Om Mani Padme Om. Sharing music, dance, and through ritual conjure trance to break the lake to consecrate. Om Mani Padme Om. The senior monk gave a satsang for the greater glory, and there, amidst the jade and ivory savor-flavored story, Om Mani Padme Om. We sat in silence, in compliance, and the chanting was a delightful violence. Om Mani Padme Om. He asked, the senior monk did. He asked the grown-ups, he asked the kids. Om Mani Padme Om. Did anyone have in their possession a simple question poised beyond the noise possession? Om Mani Padme Om. They would learn of the monk's wisdom that shining day amidst old Dharma's play. What this traveling monk thunkism? Om Mani Padme Om. What did he think after all these weeks in America complete? Was it wondrous? Was it neat? Om Mani Padme Om. The wise monk pondered as the chelas fidgeted. They sat in their best posture, fingering their beads and figured from what they were after. Laughter breaks the rigid. Om Mani Padme Om. The monk finally spoke and wrested the yoke from their throats with this brief little note. Om Mani Padme Om. He was not asked, hey, would it last? But he said with a chuckling laugh, Om Mani Padme Om. In America, you have a lot of things. I hope it comfort brings at last. Om Mani Padme Om. And like a pebble troubling the pond, what the brainy bounty spawned in ripples round the room, dispensing light, disturbing gloom. Om Mani Padme Om. In a room as opulent as any temple, a monk whose life was simple gave an ample sample of simple wisdom thrilled. Om Mani Padme Om. And through those gathered trill, the ancient wisdom certainly spilled, and like a bolt of lightning drilled, it was just merely puzzled. And from that moment the room tumbled. What did it mean? What had they seen? Om Mani Padme Om. The senior monk just smiled, and after a while his smile grew into a laugh at last, and in his wise foolishness found the fountain's vaulted path. Om Mani Padme Om. And then this one, again, another tribute to my dear friends, the poets. It's called Give a Poet. Take a poet to lunch, crunch. Take a poet to dinner, you'll be an awesome winner. Take a poet to bed, he'll remember every single word you said. Give a poet a dessert, she may decide to bat her pretty eyes and flirt. Take a poet to a movie, not too long before you'll be feeling groovy. If you're a popcorn fan, he'll be a gentleman with his hand. Take a poet to a show, oh my gosh, your eyes will glow. Whether you sit down in front or in the middle, he'll make sure you hear the fiddle. Make a poet a tasty breakfast, you'll find real pleasure in your comfy nest. Take a poet to tea, oh how happy you will be. He'll heat the water, fill your cup, make sure the heat steeps, and wait patiently till you drink it up. Take a poet for a drive, he'll smile and you'll surely safe arrive. Take a poet for a stroll, you'll find a fluid wit that's surely droll. Take a poet for a drink, you'll get her worldview quite succinct. Pour a poet a cup of coffee, she will offer passionate kisses sweet as toffee. Make a poet a nice big salad, he will sing you a folksy ballad. Butter up a poet's toast, and she will love you up the most. And then this last in this session, again, dedicated to my poet friends and fellow poets. The uses of humor. When it's said, or you suspect that all your plans are gone and wrecked, when you're sad, mad, glad, or simply by something evil or not quite bad, you may stutter or stammer too. When you're in a jam, do you reach at length for something potent like a Regent or a Nugent? Grab a hold of something rash. Now, I'm not talking bags of cash or bowls of hash or some such spice that is your pleasure. I'm suggesting that you measure one great dollop out, and when you whisper or you shout, grab yourself a great big laugh, and then you'll cut your woes in half. Cut them, splice them, mince them very, douse them with a cup of berry, pull their leg and tug its hair. You may just find a touch of merriment there. And when they've got you in a box, or the holes have worn through both shoes and socks, lean right back and give a chuckle, even though it bends your strongest buckle. All these things so tough and stringy, now no more than a propeller on your beanie. A small mustache painted on that picture of the Master Don. Give yourself a hearty laugh, sure, you'll cut your woes in half. I may have time for one more, so oh my gosh, let's do the love set. It's called Bubble Up. From a deep and silent place I bubble up. Rising from the royal blue to the goddess above, I bubble up. 1,000 artesian wells pouring forth from the silent earth, I bubble up. Reaching through the layers of sea, layers of warmth, layers of silent cool, I bubble up. Listening to a beloved call from the goddess in love, I bubble up. Rising from the valley to the peak, from the roots to the trees, I bubble up. Rising from the depths to the surface, rising up from the earth to the air, I bubble up. Rising on a million bubbles of hope, bubbles of words of light, I bubble up. Rising from your toes to your feet, rising with the swirling light, rising from your leg to your spine, I bubble up. Filling your arms, filling your neck, each hair extended, I bubble up. Rising through your spine in kundalini time, I bubble up. Filling you from toe to fingertip with a million bubbles of light, I bubble up. Your entire form charmed in light, your entire being in delight of starfire, I bubble up. Our light merging, our souls surging, Doppler shifts to blue, we bubble up. Showers of blue sapphire, iridescent puddles, seething galaxies of ecstasy, we bubble up. And then this one, a little COVID poem but love is intrinsic in it. It's called Down from the Trees. Honey baby, tell me please, since we're not so long down from the trees, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, up in the branches or down on deeply polished floors. We like reciprocal, you and me, ever since we balanced on the limbs of trees, whether out in the car or up in the tree. I'll groom you and you'll groom me. The only thing now that's left for us as the virus sets a fence between what we really feel and what we really mean, with you so far away on the other side of the glowing screen another day, we wave weakly. How I miss your sweet perfume and the many ways, darling, you decorate a room. The distant Mars, our love sealed up behind the screen's glass wall, untouched. Oh, honey baby, tell me, please, since we're really not that long down from the trees, I wish you were here to find and pluck off all my fleas. We're isolated, out of touch, and miles away, my fingers clutch in disarray, my clothes askew. Oh, what I wouldn't give for you to have your seat beside me here, with your fingers searching my matted hair, even to have you look with scorn at the clothes piled across the room I've worn. I'd even eat the toast you burn if I could beside you touch you and warmly turn. And then finally, this is to all my faraway friends. If you were in Oslo, I would never wait. I wouldn't go slow, but you know that very damn well. If you were in Vienna, I would rush in an instant to see you. Doubly sure in Singapore, in the blink of an eye, I'd be out the dang door, and you know why. If you were in Madrid, let me tell you, kid, or if you were in Rome, I'd make you feel at home. If you were in Bern, that's all I'd ever have to learn. But if you were in Shanghai, I wouldn't ask you when or why. If you were in Johannesburg, I'd tell you all the things I learned. If you were in Singapore, quick as an email, I'd be right at your door. If you were in Rio, I'd be so very glad to see you. If you went to Vladivostok, I'd let you pull my stockings off. If you were in Minsk, I'd make sure you be convinced. If you were in Marseille, I'd say all the things there were to say. If you rested in Beirut, I'd demand to ply my suit. And if in Dubai, you'd never need to ask me when or why. If in Istanbul you rested weary, you know in an instant I'd join you, don't you, dearie? If you came to Baton Rouge, I'd buy you a pretty pair of satin shoes. And if you came to Moscow town, I'd take you dancing in your finest gown. If you came to Copenhagen, I'd be there before you could get damp from the rain. And were you in Amsterdam, I'd never be an also ran. And were you there in Shannon, I'd be there like a cannon. But no matter where you are, it's in the heart. That's where it starts. Thank you, my friends. It's been an honor to share with you.